Get your freak on. Get your freak on. Get your freak on. Get your freak on.
Hey everybody, we want to welcome you to episode 2 of the Get Your Geek On podcast. As always, we are your hosts, Charles KIWACZ,
Robert Dokes,
Anthony Arsenio.
and this week we're bringing you the latest and greatest in all things nerdy. Thank you for tuning into our inaugural episode last week. We had great fun doing it and got some great feedback. But we are going to start this week, as we do every week, with the Hollywood headlines. And breaking news out of the DC world, as we predicted last week, Supergirl has been moved to the CW. It was announced yesterday by Variety.com that the deal is officially in place for Supergirl to move to the CW for a second season of 22 episodes.
Right where it belongs.
Exactly. Back in the Berlantiverse, so this is going to open up a ton of possibilities. Robert, let's catch your thoughts on this news.
I've been saying this for, even though you may have heard me say it last week, I've been saying this for months. It just needed to be in this. It wasn't, CBS wasn't the right place for that. Not with their demographic, not with what they were looking for. And even though it was a popular show, it didn't belong there. It just felt really, really out of place among some of their other procedural lineups and things that they had.
Absolutely. And Anthony, what was your take on this?
I'm just really excited we're going to have that makeshift trinity with the Green Arrow, the Flash, and Supergirl. I think that's awesome, and it's a great alternative to the movie trilogy, or Trinity, which is, Wonder Woman, Supes, and Bats.
Now, staying in the Berlantiverse, it was also announced today, despite what happened on Legends of Tomorrow last night, that Wentworth Miller, who we've come to love and know as Captain Cold, has just signed a massive deal with Warner Brothers to appear across all 4 of the Berlanti DC shows. I want to get your take on this, guys. This is big news. We all love him. I think he's a great Captain Cold.
But, Captain Cold's one of my favorite
comic book characters. Are they stretching him a little bit too far by going through all 4 shows?
Well, I don't know how he's going to fit with the Arrow per se, because it's going to be interesting to see how he takes. I mean, he's mostly a Flash rogue, and Legends of Tomorrow. I'm not a fan of the program. I've never liked it. So to see him go be a season regular on other shows, I like that. I've liked it. I liked him on The Flash this first season. I liked him up on The Flash the second season thus far. I don't know how he's going to fit in the Arrow, and I didn't think he was the right fit for Legends of Tomorrow.
See, Legends of Tomorrow is actually starting to drop off, in my opinion. I feel like it started off really strong, but their last episode kind of made it like everything they had done was for nothing. And
well,
now
that seems to be the whole premise of the show.
Well, they're setting up for the finale now, and I'm really not that excited, except for the fact that with breaking news from the Berlantiverse as well, that he is working on the Booster Gold movie, one of the untitled DC movies that was announced. So, which means that our predictions last week about the Legends of Tomorrow finale might be pointing toward Alan Scott, because it had seemed that Alan Scott or Booster Gold would be the 2 people appearing, if one of those guys, and now with Booster Gold going to the movies, kind of leaves that possibility open. Thoughts on this?
Well, it's not one thing that DC has proven, that they don't mind having characters in 2 places. So just because they do it on just because there's a possibility of Legends of Tomorrow, if he comes on Legends of Tomorrow, doesn't mean they're not gonna do a movie about it. So they've made it pretty clear that they can keep those 2 universes separate. It would be nice, because again, whenever this movie comes out, you might have 2 or 3 seasons of Booster Gold.
Well, Booster Gold, if it does come out, looks like it's going to claim the 2020 release date that was originally set for Green Lantern, but Green Lantern has been moved up.
Ooh.
I love Booster Gold. He's one of my favorite characters in the DC universe, and I'm really excited to see him on the big screen. I wish that they could have got Alan Tudyk to play him, but he's already on that NBC show Powerless.
Which
right?
leads us right into our next headline. Looks like finally DC beat Marvel to the punch on something, and an idea that was actually never even theirs. Word broke yesterday that Powerless, the new NBC sitcom based on DC, has been picked up to series, starring Alan Tudyk, Vanessa Hudgens, and Daniel Pudi. This show centers around an insurance company that sweeps up the aftermath of the big superhero battles in the DC universe.
So pretty much Damage Control.
It is Damage
DC.
Control, which Marvel had originally been trying to get to a series, but turns out they didn't. They decided to scrap the deal, and now Powerless will be.
Oh, really?
airing.
They're not even doing it?
They are not doing it, and
Oh,
it was
that's
also
too
announced
bad.
they're not doing Marvel's Most Wanted, which was the spin-off that they were going to do with Mockingbird.
That's
That
too
has been
bad. Damage
canned.
Control was a really fun book.
I just find it amazing that something DC never had in their they basically just stole a Marvel Comics idea
Pretty
and
much.
beat them to the punch, which I think is kind of hilarious.
No, that's hey, They got to win. Hey, we won the TV war. That's one
They
thing.
did.
Now, I have a feeling this will be one of those shows that we'll probably get a teaser trailer really soon for, but I have a feeling this will be one of those ones where they aired the pilot at Comic-Con, and along the lines of Flash, that we'll probably get a leaked pilot early in the summer for this one.
I did see the production still from that. Vanessa Hudgens and Alan Tudyk look really good in some of the things, and some of the production stills.
Yeah, there's like Superman's legs, right?
And
like,
you see like a person crawling on a wall, and you're like, that's a villain. And so it should be an interesting project if they get it up, and NBC is.
That's not the network I would have pegged for it, though.
Well,
NBC.
Yeah.
It's going to be more of like a The Office style show,
It's
and that's like
definitely The Office style
NBC's
comedy.
wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Which I really like, and I'm looking forward to that. But I like the fact that they are determined, apparently, to relate more to the DC universe than S.H.I.E.L.D. does to the Marvel universe, which I really like the idea of that. Apparently, the pilot is the cleanup in Metropolis after the Batman v Superman fight.
Oh, so it's the movies.
Oh yeah, this is their one show that they're going to tie in to their movies, and there's talk that it could possibly cross over with Damage from the shows, but as of right now, for what they have, it is strictly Batman, Superman, those type villains. In the pilot and some of the promos, we were introduced to Crimson Fox as well.
Oh,
So-
DC and their silly multiverse.
DC seems to reach really deep with their TV shows.
I know.
They're in that like W volume of the encyclopedia at this point.
But the multiverse is deep
Yeah.
on the screen so far, and I'm really liking that a lot.
And moving over in more movie news, speaking of cancellations, it looks like 13 shows caught the boot yesterday, including fan favorites Castle, Agent Carter, and a show I was personally loving was The Muppets. I was sad to see that one go.
I never
But,
heard a single good thing about the Muppets.
It was just a nostalgia factor for me, and I liked
Sure.
that they kind of tried to bring it into an adult world. The first 6 or 7 episodes I thought were really funny, but it's still sad to see it go. I'm still hoping for the Fraggle Rock movie with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, which is scheduled for
JGL.
2018.
Sad to see Peggy Carter go, especially after Civil War. It's kind of like, hey, you died in the film, and now
Off
you're
screen.
now you're dead on television as well.
Well, apparently that was not actually due as much to the ratings or anything for the show. Is apparently the woman that plays her, Haley Atwell, I believe is her
Haley.
name, is signed on to be the lead of a new ABC show that just got picked up called Conviction.
Yeah.
So she's going to be.
If
the
I had
star
my
of that.
fingers in the Marvel universe, I'd leave them there. They're just money makers.
Well, yeah, anybody who's in that, it's like, hey, I'll thank you. I will take my Marvel
course,
money
yeah.
and enjoy it for, whatever.
And moving on to a little bit of casting news this week, looks like some more Infinity War members have been let slip by the Russos,
Ooh.
and it looks like joining Star-Lord along with many other characters will be Rocket Raccoon in the Infinity War movies, which leads me to believe that at this point we're probably going to see all of the Guardians of the Galaxy with a 67 character cast. And the fact that you're name dropping them slowly here, we've gotten Captain Marvel, Star-Lord, and Rocket Raccoon confirmed.
And also,
at those
Drax
press
is
releases.
like designed to kill Thanos.
I don't know why I think Drax might be the casualty of Guardians of the Galaxy too. Would Dave
that'd be
Bautista-
horrible.
Dave Bautista has always been open to continually doing stuff. He's not going back to the WWE anytime soon. So
we'll see how it goes with that. But that was the casting coming out of Marvel. DC's casting news a couple weeks back, it was announced that Willem Dafoe had been cast in an unknown role in the Justice League
As
movie.
a good guy, right?
Yeah, and it apparently has leaked out that he is the king of Atlantis. He is Arthur's father.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, which is what's going around them. There's also rumors that he could be Black Manta, but that's highly doubted.
I
It's
don't
more
think
led to believe that he is the good king of Atlantis. And this ties a little bit into the plot of Justice League. We had talked last week about the villain being Steppenwolf. More plot details have leaked out today because of the Willem Dafoe news that apparently it'll be mentioned in the Wonder Woman movie that thousands of years ago, Atlanteans, Themyscirians, and humans fought together to defeat Darkseid and were left with 3 mother boxes, one for each species. And apparently
Interesting.
Justice League will be Steppenwolf coming back to collect those mother boxes. And the
I would
Justice
imagine
League
like
having to take them out.
Star Labs or something probably has the mother box.
Well, this makes sense if you saw the deleted scene from Batman vs. Superman of Lex seeing Steppenwolf with 3 mother boxes, clear as day, and then we know one of those was used by the humans to create Cyborg. It would make sense that the other 2 would have gone, one to the Atlanteans and one to the Themyscirians. Thoughts on this?
It makes sense. I mean, I
It-
really wish they didn't cut that scene out of Batman vs Superman because it set up context for the whole motivations of the villains.
Exactly.
But I was just left confused for most of it because that scene wasn't in it.
Well, it looks like Steppenwolf for part 1, which will lead to possibly Darkseid for part 2. But I feel like that's one DC plot point that not only makes sense, but what they've set up in the movie, that seems the logical direction to go. And bringing together, I think that in the Wonder Woman movie, they'll mention, she said in Batman vs. Superman, I've faced creatures from other planets before. So we'll see how that gets set up when we know the Atlanteans have been around forever.
I wonder if they'll do Apocalypse as another planet or as in like a different dimension.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to see what they do with it anyway. But that's going to wrap us up for Hollywood Headlines for this week. Moving into a new segment for us is Movies That Will Suck. These are movies that have yet to be made but are announced, and we just know that they are going to be terrible. And Warner Brothers announced today a new prequel film pairing Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland as brother and sister.
So I just want to point out something. What is with Warner Brothers essentially copying the Disney playbook right these days? They had the Jungle Book,
The
and
Tarzans.
the Tarzans, and now you're coming out with an Alice because Alice in Wonderland, the sequel for this film is coming out. It's this.
Yeah, we're going to get into that because I have a very special place in my heart for those movies. But the idea of these two as brother and sister makes no sense. The stories were never related. I don't see... What, is Neverland supposed to be Wonderland now and Alice goes to rescue him?
I have no idea.
If I'm calling the plot of this movie right now, will be young Peter taken by Hook and the pirates, and Alice has to find her way to Wonderland to be able to save her brother.
That sounds terrible. The whole concept of it just sounds pretty terrible.
So speaking of more movies that will suck, this one's not quite a movie, but it's a TV show. It was announced that a new MacGyver TV show has been picked up to series by CBS.
So I grew up with MacGyver.
As did I.
And, grew up with MacGyver, and man, it would be nice to have that kind of character back on television. But I have not heard good things about what they're planning on doing, or at least concepts for this show.
I feel like MacGruber, the SNL skit, kind of played out anything we needed to know about MacGyver.
Yeah.
So I'm not having any high hopes for this one. I can guarantee you this is going to be a one season. I don't even see this making a full season. I think this is one of those shows that gets cut after like 5 or 6 episodes.
Oh,
They
yeah.
just stop airing it. If this makes it to a season 2 and Constantine gets canceled, there's no justice in the world.
There isn't justice in the world.
Now, one that could suck, I don't have high hopes for it, but was announced today, 24 Legacy, starring our favorite Teddy Sears. Zoom from The Flash has been picked up to series by Fox. Now, this is not a sequel. This is just a fresh new take. The lead, I don't know his name offhand, but it's the young man that played Dr. Dre in Straight Outta Compton, will be the lead, and Teddy Sears is second in command. Were you guys original fans of 24 at all when
Yep.
it was on?
Yeah, I was certainly a fan of Keith Sutherland. I think it really helped resurrect his career with the concept. Many years later, I don't know.
If it's done right, I think it could play well. The original concept was revolutionary as far as TV storytelling.
absolutely.
Except for the fact that no one ever seemed to use the bathroom or eat, which is one of the... I nitpick
Which is
those
what
little-
you want to see on television.
I nitpick the little things like that, like in Walking Dead, who's mowing all the lawns,
Yeah.
things like that. But I don't really have high hopes for this show. Fox is kind of like stretching at this point.
I just
for
think it's
first
pointless.
content.
It's unnecessary, and they should just do something else with those two pretty good actors.
And good acting can't always save a bad show. Though.
Absolutely
you can have
not.
the best actors in the world, but if it's not
That's
a
what
great
I'm. Well,
premise-
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they should just come up with something better.
My other fear is that in the wake of all these terrorist attacks and shootings and everything else that happen, you kind of have to be really careful with your plot as far as playing political correctness, things like that.
Political correctness, but even outside of that, it's just you're dealing with a very hypersensitive environment these days politically, and to kind of depending on how they present it, is it going to be terrorist? Is it going to be a domestic thing? Nobody knows.
How much will they have to change the show if Trump wins?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, we're going to go out. It's going to be 36 hours. We're going to fix it.
Yeah.
And then lastly, in movies that will suck today, it was announced that Godzilla 2 had been pushed back to 2019, and coming a year after that will be Godzilla versus King Kong.
I'll take that.
No.
I'll take that.
I feel Anthony's spirit at the idea of the monster movies, but everything I've heard about Kong Skull Island is not good, and I just don't have high hopes for this movie. Unless they can really blow me away with Godzilla 2, I really don't have high hopes.
I did not mind the first Godzilla.
I liked it.
I liked the first Godzilla. I think it was better than the than the 90s version that it came out with Matthew Broderick.
Oh,
and
hit star Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, that with the Chernobyl earthworm.
Yep.
And I enjoyed it. I think it brought back, really made it a monster movie. It's sad that Warner Brothers does not have the rights to the Toho collection.
And it's funny that you say it made it a monster movie. One of the biggest knocks for that Godzilla movie is that Godzilla's only on screen for about 20 minutes. But I'm like, that's perfect. That's what you want. In a good monster movie, you don't want the monster there the whole time. And I felt like he was perfectly used. I felt like his blue fire attack was used perfectly in the movie. Like, it was a great Godzilla origin. And I like the fact that rather than making him this villain, he's kind of like this natural balance creature that comes out like when the world's out of balance. So I'm looking for, like, the concept. Obviously, we're all going to go see it, but I don't have high hopes for this movie.
I think they should just bite the bullet and do a Rampage movie.
Yeah, that I'd take.
That would be great.
That would take a Rampage movie and do that. And
now, it seems everybody is jumping on the bandwagon of the extended universes here, with Transformers now announcing it. We have Marvel, we have DC, but the ones I would not have expected to get into the game are the Universal monsters. Now, we all know that The Mummy, starring Tom Cruise, is currently filming, which, oddly enough, as the synopsis was released last week, he is not the Mummy. He is just one of the guys. He's basically the Brendan Fraser role. But one of the announcements that I was actually taken aback by was Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man.
I don't mind that.
So the idea for these movies is to make The Mummy, The Invisible Man, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, and a couple of other ones, and then bring them together in an Avengers-style movie, which really blows my mind because the star power, Tom Cruise and Johnny Depp, I mean, you could really bring those guys into a superhero movie. And
you could, and Johnny Depp was rumored to do Doctor Strange for a long time.
That was my fan cast for. I thought he would have made the perfect Doctor Strange, but even somebody like Tom Cruise, like I could see Tom Cruise in a Ghost Rider type role. Something like that. Well, the fact that he does his own stunts, things like that.
Yeah.
If I had to fan cast my Marvel role, though, I think Tom Hanks as a Reed Richards would be one of the best.
Oh,
fan
shit.
castings.
That would be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
If you're listening, Kevin Feige, make it happen.
And word around the rumor mill, making his either DC or Marvel debut, it'll be announced in the next couple of weeks that Jeff Goldblum will be joining the superhero world, which I could not be more excited about. I'm a
the hell would he
Goldblum fan. I can't wait for Independence Day 4-2 or whatever they're calling it now.
ID4-2? ID4-2?
Oh, hey, man, it's been 20 years since the original film was out. So
wow, interesting. Who would you want Jeff Goldblum to be?
That if I couldn't go Reed Richards.
Oh, I don't want to see Jeff Goldblum as Reed Richards. He's too cool.
I'm trying to think. If I have to go with a Marvel character, I would say Namor. And then if I had to go DC, I could see him going Sinestro if they went the villain route because of the logical aspect of him. Sinestro. But if I had to go hero, I'd go Martian Manhunter.
If I were gonna go the DC route, he would be either Plastic Man or Elongated Man.
See, I don't think that's too far back for me.
Plastic
I don't think he's
Man.
relevant.
That would be so
Plastic
cool.
Man, he does fit it perfectly. I could actually see him as Dr. Light too on the villain side. Okay. But I really think Martian Manhunter for him, or possibly The Question. Maybe even Sandman.
I feel like he's too old. He's just too old to play to do star power, I think.
You think so?
Yeah, because I mean, all those Marvel characters, or the actors, they're gonna age out eventually. They're not super young, and for a franchise that they want to keep going for another 20 years.
I definitely see that, but I'm excited the fact that he's going to be making his way in there. The Universal Monster one just blows my mind, though, because that's some serious star power wasted, because you got to figure those contracts lock these guys up.
I think it's a nice concept that Universal is trying to get in the game, and they're trying to use what is one of their strengths. Back in the 40s and 50s, their monsters were their strength. You would see Abbott and Costello versus the Invisible Man, or Abbott and Costello meets the mummy, and they had these movies in the Wolfman over and over, and those were their strong points, and it drew box office. And especially in this day where you don't have a comic book label, Comcast NBC Universal or Comcast doesn't have that catalog. They just don't. They're taking from what Warner Brothers and Disney give them. And so use the Universal Monitor. Go ahead. If you can get Tom Cruise, do it. If you can get Johnny Depp, do it.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Could you see Jeff Goldblum as the Jay Garrick?
Oh, that would be nice.
I mean, think about the scientific aspect. He's got nailed down. He's an older guy. Obviously, you could bulk up a little bit, but there's been different variations.
He could also be the Atom.
Well, now because of
Adam,
you, I can only
ooh.
picture him as Plastic Man.
Adam-
yeah, I'm sorry.
It's an image that I'm really
I
liking.
probably
Man,
really did ruin that.
As
for
much
you.
as I agree with that, it's just I don't think we'll ever see Plastic Man on film.
And
I don't think that's ever
that is a
gonna happen.
damn shame.
But Richard seems to have a little bit of his pulse in the Marvel universe. This is one not on our outline, so it's a little wild for you guys, but I was just reading as I came in here. Apparently one of the reasons Psylocke is in X-Men Apocalypse was due to fan casting of Olivia Munn, but she was originally set to replace a key hero, which leads us to believe there might be some deals in the works. Apparently the original script featured Mr. Fantastic himself, Reed Richards, as one of the Four Horsemen. They were going to be doing a crossover due to the failed success of the Fantastic Four
Well, it was
movie.
going to be like Miles Teller.
Miles Teller was set to play. They even filmed 2 days of film with him. It was decided
Really?
after the movie flopped to move on. In fact, cast Psylocke instead. What are your thoughts on this and the possibility that maybe Fox is preparing to give up the Fantastic Four rights?
Well, Fox has always been the distributor of that. I think it's this German company that owns the rights to the Fantastic Four, and to have, it would be nice to Marvel to have their first family back. It would be, that's nice because they haven't done much with them in the comics. They haven't done much with them.
Well, they're gone now.
Yeah. They haven't done much with any of them in the last few years. They just need to.
Well, they're a huge part of Secret Wars.
They are a huge part of Secret Wars, but as far as the title, for those who don't know, Marvel has had this for things that they don't own, as far as titles and as far as when it comes to movie rights, they have practically squashed those comics.
Yeah, there's no Fantastic Four book anymore, which is pretty sad.
It's like they've squashed that. They've killed all merchandising, and so that's why you don't see a huge. Yes, the X-Men are still out there, but the presence is not as big as the Marvel universe.
There's only like 1 or 2 X-Men comics now, as opposed to like the 7 or 8 there used to be.
Yeah, and the other thing is a lot of people also don't realize is how the M-Day, at least from my knowledge, the M-Day storyline developed based on the fact that they didn't have the rights to the mutants, so they couldn't use mutants in movies anymore, even though they have them in the book. It wasn't marketable, so it's like, all right, well, let's do this. No more mutants. That big line from Scarlet Witch.
Yep.
And that killed most of their
all but like 100.
And so that mutants are not a huge thing in the Marvel universe.
And it's about to get even less. There's a new storyline right now where they're killing off Death of X, it's called.
That's
they're
every single X-Men storyline for the past 10 years.
No, this one is they're basically just killing off all the main X-Men.
Pretty much, yeah.
It starts up next month. Each one's a variant cover of all the different X-Men that they're killing. Yeah, which it kind of blows my mind that they're going that route with
they have Inhumans now.
Well, that's on the shelf.
Inhumans got pulled, yeah.
But I just mean as a concept for the comics. They use more Inhumans. Like, ever since the Terrigen Mists got released like a couple years ago in the storyline of the comics, suddenly there's all these new superheroes. One of them, Miss Marvel, who's awesome. She's pretty much like a Plastic Man.
Well, one of the points I wanted to bring up about the whole Psylocke Fantastic forecasting is because, and you're going to hear this theory here first, people. Robert and I have been talking. I really believe that one of the reasons why they're not doing that is that they're going to be giving the rights back to Marvel. The reason behind that is, as we talked about last episode, the 2 new storylines Marvel's looking at adapting for Phase 4 are Secret Invasion and Siege. If you get the Fantastic Four rights back, you get the Skrulls back, which means you have your Secret Invasion. So I really think that there's some under-the-table goings-on there. And as we'll move into a little bit later in the show with the early reviews coming out of X-Men Apocalypse, as disappointed as I am, perhaps we could eventually get that X-Men Avengers crossover.
How would you bring the Fantastic Four into the MCU?
Same way you did Spider-Man.
I'd use Doctor Strange. I would say that they were trapped in the negative zone, something like that. Doctor Strange releases them.
Yeah, it would start with like a flashback of them exploring the negative zone. They get trapped there, and maybe they come out and they haven't aged.
That's something I could see, because if Marvel's going to take them, it's not going to be an origin. Which, can you believe, I had actually read comments about Civil War, people saying that Spidey's intro felt rushed and they wanted to know how he became Spider-Man.
No.
Everybody knows. If you're going to see this late in the game Marvel movie, you should probably know who Spider-Man is.
There's been 5 movies, 3 animated shows, 2 straight to DVD. Like, everyone knows how he became Spider-Man.
It's the idea that, it's like I said before, with the Batman v Superman, it felt rushed because the fact that, you didn't need to go through that whole thing in the beginning. I appreciated you already know who Batman is. You've had, last Andrew Garfield movie was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's still fresh in the minds of fans. You're not, Marvel's not playing you for an idiot. They know that you know the story.
Well, I mean, and there's different ways they could bring them in. If I had to just spitball one, I'd say either A, Doctor Strange opens up the negative zone, or B, instead of going like the cosmic radiation in space, maybe Infinity War Part 1 when Thanos attacks, maybe an Infinity Stone or some sort of cosmic radiation gets unleashed and there just happen to be civilians in the street and get turned into the Fantastic Four. I mean, there's a ton of different roads you could go with it, but the fact it's that secret invasion storyline, because it's from a very reliable source at Deadline, that's where they want to go, and you can't do that without the Skrulls. So that really leads me to believe that there really might be some shady goings on there as far as that goes.
I mean, you need the Skrulls. I mean, like, when you look at it in terms of the Marvel properties, the Marvel still owns the rights to the Kree. In terms of that, they can't use the Shi'ar for X-Men because Fox owns that.
They can use Super Skrull.
Yeah, and then you can't use the Skrulls because Fox owns that. Yeah.
Well, we'll see how it goes. I mean, Marvel doesn't really seem to be letting us down. Hopefully they can nail the villains a little bit, but Fox has really got to get their stuff together. They're going to start losing some rights, because it's not even just whether or not these movies do well. It's the fact that they have to pump them out certain times. I believe it's X-Men and Fantastic Four both every 2 years.
Every 2, I think it's
X-Men's
they have to make one
every 2
at least every 7 years for Fantastic Four.
Well, X-Men I know is every 2 years. That's why they're planning out New Mutants and everything else like that, because they don't want to lose those rights. But that's going to wrap us up for the headlines this week. We're going to move a little bit into TV talk, which is where we get into the best shows weekly, our thoughts, and mild spoilers ahead. So if you haven't caught up on Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, or Supernatural, you might want to skip ahead for this part in the podcast. Now, as we all know, our man Kevin Smith's episode of The Flash aired this week, and despite everyone being skeptical, me and Anthony knew it would be a hit. Robert, I think we can all agree we loved it. One of the best episodes of the season.
Yeah, it was well, most of the not that the Flash is always campy, but this was a very good episode where you got to really see Barry deal with his internal dilemma about, it's like, have you been to your mother's grave before? He's like,
which is someone that's lost a parent, like the moments of him and his mother, like I'm not even gonna lie and say I didn't drop a tear. It's that moment of like having to accept
I cried
it
like
and
a
things
baby.
like that. One of the coolest things I liked though was actually getting to see the Speed Force represented as a person and hear from the Speed Force. So that's not something that really happens in the comics. They're told that it's like a heaven and it calls to them. But the fact, and that's the other thing, the Speed Force normally wants to take the Speedsters and wants them to stay. And it seemed like the Speed Force wanted Barry to go back. It just wanted him to understand his power and why he was here and things like that. Little nods in the episode all around, Jay from Jay and Silent Bob having his cameo.
That's my mom's car.
Big revelations at the end of the episode with the army of metahumans coming in. But I kind of feel like we've sealed the fate of one of our beloved characters, and that is Henry Allen, Barry's father, with his little remark there that he's going to be staying around and not going anywhere. I kind of feel like those were words of doom.
He's a dead man.
What do you guys think?
Dead man walking.
Yeah.
Which leads us to believe even more in my theory that Henry Allen from Earth 2
the
is
real
Jay
Jay
Garrick, the man
Garrick.
in the Iron Mask.
Yeah, I'm on board with that theory.
I
100%.
totally love that theory. Thing we are a little nervous about is the fact that Kevin Smith and Teddy Sears have said the final 2 episodes make very bold choices where they don't know how to go from season 3 from here.
I'll take that.
So
They'll figure it out. I have faith in Berlanti.
I don't see them killing Barry personally, because I don't think you can have the show without him. You can't have a Kid Flash.
It's too soon.
It is, but even outside of that, they've made. I mean, Grant Gustin is just. It's just so. What? I mean, why would you do that?
My thinking would be possibly something happens with Wally that turns him into the New 52 Reverse Flash. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that storyline.
Well, in that storyline, it was Daniel West, who was Iris's brother, right?
But they and Wally West was also her cousin. So, I mean, they've also played with the show in those different
Or was her
ways.
nephew? Wally was Iris's nephew, right?
Yeah. But, I mean, I could see him possibly becoming the Reverse Flash. The New 52 Reverse Flash sucked the speed from speedsters in order to, stay alive and go faster. He wanted to go back in time, basically, to kill his father.
Yep.
So I could see that storyline.
He was a scary Reverse Flash, too.
But, I mean, we've already had the multiple Earths. I mean, let's spit some theories here about what the bold choices, quote-unquote, season-ending storylines. And here's the kicker, if this helps at all. Teddy Sears has confirmed that the door is not closed for him to return as Zoom. So Robert and I were talking, I think he might get trapped in the Speed Force, trapped on another Earth, powerless maybe.
Trapped in the Speed Force would be really cool. I really love the way they did the Speed Force. Sometimes it was just like this big blurry mess. Sometimes it was just a place that was ripped from your memories.
I thought at first, though, what he was chasing was the Black Racer, the Black Flash. That's what I thought, which I thought was kind of cool.
Well, they kind of did that with the Time Race episode, so that's...
Now, what they're doing with Vibe in the comics, Vibe was always kind of a joke, even in the animated shows. Like,
Well, I mean, he's super powerful in the
I can
comics
understand
too.
that he's powerful, but my issue with this episode was the fact I get that he can open up other dimensions, things like that. But I'm a huge Flash fan. I know everything about the Speed. The Speed Force actually exists outside the multiverse.
Yeah, it's like the wall, or it's
So
like the skin.
I don't see how he should have been able to open a breach into the Speed Force. That didn't really make sense to me. It's one of those things that you kind of like have to let go.
Vibe's a lot more powerful as of the New 52 as well.
But for spending so long on making him, like, it was such a big deal for him to open his first breach, and now suddenly he can tap into the Speed Force and, like, take people with him and things like that.
Well, he was also connected to Wells's little
It was
majigger.
just stimulated parts of his brain. But
Yeah.
I'm saying the fact that a non-speedster could access the Speed Force.
Maybe he's just been
Well,
practicing.
his whole point is power is frequency. So he senses the frequencies outside of, I forget, what was it, like he senses a frequency, so that's why they call him Vibe. And so if you watch the Supergirl episode, the whole thing is all he has to do is tune in the right frequency to open up the breach. So it doesn't necessarily have to go fast. He just has to hit that right frequency.
I'm just wondering what they could throw at us for the big twist for the ending. I mean, obviously going to another Earth isn't going to do it. I personally think as far as the deaths go, it's either going to be Caitlin or Henry Allen.
I hope it's not Caitlin. She's fun.
But I'm just trying to think of like a big twist that would throw us for a loop.
Mini
Obviously,
Crisis?
But that's not till 2024, and that's the one thing. If you listen to the Fat Man on Batman podcast with Kevin Smith, he had Andrew Kreisberg, and they talked about how everything that you see in the show, it's like How I Met Your Mother style. It will be alluded to at a later point. So Crisis will happen, but it's not till 2024 in the
Flashpoint?
in Flashpoint, not even, because that's the one thing I was talking to Robert about. I feel like more than anything now, we got the Barry that goes back in the season 1 finale and tells him not to save his mom. You know what I mean? He's accepted the death. He understands what happens. But I don't think you could do Flashpoint yet until you can figure out more what's going on with Batman and things like that.
And I loved how when he escaped the Speed Force and came back, he was just like Flash Jesus. He resurrected Jesse Quick, and he didn't even think anything about it. He just kind of like had this stone face, and that was just like the Flash. And that was so awesome to see.
And then hopes for a villain for season 3. I mean, obviously they could go with another speedster. Gorilla City's not going to happen. It's just not in the budget for that to happen.
Rogues. Mirror Master and the Rogues.
Yeah.
Mirror Master, we may see next week.
How have we not had Rogues yet? Makes no sense.
Well, we can see it. They
Well,
don't disappoint. So it's like it's such tiny things.
No,
to
no,
nitpick
no.
at.
Exactly. That's like my only quarrel.
The big thing is we know where 2 of their main rogues are. They've been on Legends of Tomorrow.
Yep, and the
that's-
other ones they all owe Cold a favor.
Yeah.
And then I think we can all look forward to this week's episode with the preview. It looks like Barry's going to lose someone close to him, but also in the synopsis says that Joe is worried when Wally goes to help the Flash. So could this perhaps be the birth of a superhero? One of the reasons why I think he could turn Darkseid is the fact that Jesse went into the coma and things like that, and Wally didn't. Wally seemed to be fine. So maybe there's something darker brewing in him. There's so much stuff that they could do because they're playing with the continuity with Jeff Johns, who basically Flash didn't have much of a history before Jeff Johns got a hold of
absolutely.
him, which is one of the reasons why I love his run on
And
it.
he loves Wally.
And he loves Wally, and
Yeah.
he loves the idea of choosing what moments in time you can change and what you can't. Like I've read tons of interviews with him, and the Flash is one of his favorite characters because of the fact that he has the power to change all the bad things in his life that happen to them, but he cares more about the ripple effects of others.
Yeah.
Flashpoint's the one time we saw him be selfish, and
And
look what
happened.
happened.
Yeah.
But even outside that fun moment with the episode, Joe dropping the coffee cup.
Oh, I love
It was
that.
like, you sure, Wally?
Gonna do this the old-fashioned
This
way.
way.
Love that.
I think my two were both Cisco, and that's when he sees Gert and says, "A zombie for real?" Like just in the heat of the moment, and then at the very end when Barry touches Jesse and she wakes up, he's like, "So wait, are you like magic now?"
Yeah.
Like just a little moment.
I also really like the little when Cisco and Wells were all flustered and they're trying to explain things and they're just kind of mimicking each other while they're doing it. Loved that.
Am I the only one pissed that Iris kind of stole like Henry's chance to go and get his son back?
You know what?
Like,
Here's why I loved that, because that is the comic book. Barry's trapped in the Speed Force, and Iris West is the thing that saves him. I loved that, and she actually really impressed me this time around. And normally she kind of annoys me.
now the one thing I will nitpick this episode for is I had hoped with the destruction of his suit that we would get a new suit, possibly a Speed Force infused suit. Didn't really get that. I was hoping for at least yellow boots. But what are your thoughts on?
He hasn't even gotten the ring yet.
Well, the ring, I think we're going to see. That's what you literally stole the words on my mouth. I think we're going to see that either next episode or in the finale. The fact that he asked Cisco to maintain it, the fact that he's got the new suit, I think it makes sense for that. But I mean, what are your hopes? Do you hope to ever get a more comic accurate suit?
I like the suit that they have. I love the easy, like sleek spandex suit that the Flash usually wears. I'm not a big fan of like the armored suit from the New 52, but I mean, yeah, I'm cool with what they have now, and I'm also cool if they decide to change it. Keep
Bob?
that white symbol, and I'll be happy.
I'm fine with it. It's something that, again, if you want to make that, a nostalgia trip back to the comic book, but I'm fine with the suit the way it is currently right now.
Well, one of the things I am going to predict here, and call it a bold prediction if you like, for those who don't know, DC is relaunching their comics with what's called Rebirth, and it's to align their comic storylines more with their TV and movie storylines. One of the big things they're doing in the Justice League is making Black Wally West the Kid Flash in his yellow suit. I think Wally gets the Reverse Flash's suit on the TV show, slightly modified to be his own suit. Thoughts on that?
That might be, yeah.
I don't think we'll see the silver New 52 Wally suit.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see that either. But that would look pretty cool. I did like his costume in that Future's End one shot.
Yeah, the Futures in one shot is really good, but I mean, it's an existing suit that's already there. It's yellow.
They have it. They could just modify it.
Just cut the top off, basically. So I think that we will see Wally as the speedster. I think we'll
love
see
Wally.
Jesse.
He's so fun.
But like I've talked about, I think Jesse goes to Earth too. But with Supergirl coming in, do you guys think maybe they kind of retcon her a little bit and make her Earth 1?
I hope so.
Have an easier way for them to get between Earths?
I could do without most of the characters on Supergirl except for Supergirl and Martian Manhunter.
I don't know. I just feel like they might try to scramble to get a stinger together for the end of the Flash finale with the news that it's coming over. Something to just say like, "Hey, this is going to be coming too."
I don't know. I don't know, because I'm assuming they shot this, and I think that whatever we're going to see for Supergirl going to the CW next season is going to happen during the course of the shooting, when they start shooting for Arrow, and
which is July 17th.
Yeah, we start Arrow, Flash, and then when they start shooting for Supergirl, they're going to try to come up with something to say, come up with an event that spans all three shows and now gives you a new continuity, which also might bring back Black Canary, which was kind of the big thing that
people were outraged.
I stopped watching Arrow after that.
I don't watch Arrow. It's just not me. One thing I could see them doing with Supergirl, though, is either A, having Cisco just open breaches to bring her in when necessary, or B, now that Barry's fully Speed Force powered, which I can't wait to see, adapting the treadmill to be the cosmic treadmill.
Okay, yeah.
Which I think, I mean, the elements are there for that, but I see them bringing in some sort of way to incorporate her more in for the crossovers. But can we just acknowledge the irony of the fact that they acknowledged in the Flash crossover, you look like the non-threatening, racially diverse cast of the CW show, and now they are the non-threatening, racially cursed.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever happened on a show, though, before, just that type of, like, foreshadowing. And very few shows get this second chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, very, again, talking about it, it just seemed very misplaced on that network. And I'm glad that they've...
Well, the ratings that it even pulled in on CBS were amazing. It was holding a 2.8 in the key demographics.
Yeah, but they
just saw the big drop from like the 6.5 to the 2.8.
Which I think, bringing it to the CW, you're going to anchor the built-in audience. I like the show, even though it's geared toward a more feminine show. I was a fan of the first season all around. I really like what they do.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty fun.
First couple episodes were weak, but then they picked up really well. But that was like that with Flash and Arrow as
Plus,
well. Like
the Manhunter was baller.
That was the turning episode for me when Manhunter
so cool.
revealed himself.
Yeah.
But
he looks amazing.
I think this is basically CW of forming their own Justice Society, basically, and kind of saying F you to the Warner Brothers. Like, if you're not going to let us play with the rights, we're going to kind of make our own. And I kind of like that. As far as the Trinity goes, I would much prefer the Trinity of Flash, Supergirl, and Arrow.
Same here.
To Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman.
Yeah. They all have really good chemistry together. I mean, we haven't seen Arrow and Supergirl together, but Grant Gustin and Stephen Amell have awesome chemistry, and Grant Gustin and Melissa.
And now we could have hopes for a Supergirl seeing Power Girl, meeting her Earth 2 doppelganger.
That'd be so cool.
Is it too much to ever hope for a Red Lantern Supergirl like in the comics?
Well, I mean, they'd have to bring in
They'd
have to bring in the Green Lantern Corps, which I'm really hoping they do at some point in time.
Me and Anthony can talk, but like I'm just the most diehard Lantern fan, so I'm dying for any representation. Like even when the animated series was canceled, I was devastated. If you guys haven't watched it, it was only one season. It was an amazing interpretation of Green Lantern. But my finding behind it is because of the fact that Blackest Night could be such a great storyline adapted for a Justice League movie. Because of the fact that it encompasses the entire DC universe. They own the rights to all of their characters, so you can bring everybody in. That would be like my... like Infinity War is their third Avengers movie. Blackest Night would be like my third Justice League movie. I'd go Justice League now, then maybe do like Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then Blackest Night.
But because DC has the story, definitely has the story arcs for it, and they should do a lot of these things, but it really depends on what they decide to do with their properties.
Well, I don't know if you've read it. One of the key storylines in Blackest Night that continues DC continuity is Necron, the leader of the Black Lanterns, explains that he let all of the heroes that have died over the time when Superman fought Doomsday, Wonder Woman, Green Arrow, he let all of them be resurrected, knowing he could take them over as Black Lanterns at one point.
Yeah.
And there's a really great panel where he just says all of their names, the entire Justice League, and then just says die, and they all drop, and then Black Rings take them all over and they rise. But Anthony, you know the Blackest Night storyline well. Even an animated movie of that would be
so
incredible.
Awesome.
How do you feel about the Killing Joke coming out? Has anybody?
Okay, I am so excited.
I'm pretty excited. It looks like it's really faithful to the comic book.
I'm happy for Mark Hamill because he had talked for years that if he was ever going to come back to being the Joker, he would want to do the Killing Joke, but he would never thought that it would get made.
And it's him and Conroy too.
And Kevin Conroy is the voice of Batman to me.
Yeah.
Like he will always be that. But the fact that they did the R-rated and they stuck to it because they were like, we were never going to make it if we couldn't make it what it was, because it's one of the most controversial, one of the most infamous storylines of all time, and I think it's the definitive Joker storyline of all time.
Yeah.
So I think seeing that it tells us, number one, we'll probably never see it on screen, but the fact that it's R-rated, the DC animated movies have never let down. I own all of them. I don't know if you guys have seen this. Justice League, Doom, Flashpoint Paradox, all of them.
Those have been very faithful, and I've always enjoyed the DC animated properties because when you think about the Flash, I always think about Michael Rosenblum's portrayal of the Flash on Justice League.
Yeah, he's great.
And he hit it because he just hit it. And
he's so jacked too. He's huge.
Yeah. He's jacked, but at the same time, he just hit the character, the way he talks fast, acts fast.
Yeah, he had that. One of my favorite parts in like all of the DC animated universes when I think it's in Justice League Unlimited when the Flash goes to the Rogue's bar and he sees the Trickster drinking and he's like, "Hey, buddy, turn yourself in after that drink," and he's just like, "Got me again, Flash."
It's they can bring emotion to like the animated ones.
Also played by Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Not even gonna lie, the manliness in me, like I dropped a tear in Flashpoint Paradox at the end when Flash gives Bruce Wayne Batman the letter from his father,
which is Kevin Conroy again.
Which just that type of writing is amazing. It's like I just wish it could translate to
Jeff
movies.
Johns wrote Flashpoint, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Pretty sure, yeah.
Jeff Johns did Flash Rebirth, which is considered like the new definitive Flash storylines, what everything's based off of. He did Flashpoint, and then he's done all of our Green Lantern storylines that we love, Rebirth.
He did, yeah.
And he's taking over for Rebirth. He's now the chief creative officer at DC, and he runs all the TV
well-deserved
shows
as well.
Yeah.
Like
he deserves it.
A really cool video if you ever want to watch it is him on YouTube the day Flash started filming episode 1, and he's literally like sitting there in tears, like the fact that like they took his storylines and things like that. But so Flash, we'll move on from that right now. Legends of Tomorrow, as we said, is slowly declining.
I'm a couple behind on that.
We'll touch more on that next week when hopefully they debut our Alan Scott Green Lantern, which is
next week the finale?
Next week is the finale. That is correct. So we're looking forward to that. But Supernatural, I really wanted to touch on this week for a couple of reasons. Do either of you two guys watch Supernatural?
No, my roommate
like
watches that
first 6
religiously.
episodes.
Okay, so one of the reasons that I wanted to bring it up is the fact that 11 seasons now, God has never made an appearance on the show. Finally happened last week.
Yeah.
And what was his name? Chuck. That's right, people. It's Chuck the Prophet, who's been a character on the show for years. Turned out to be God masquerading this entire time. So it was really cool to see that happen. It's a very momentous occasion for that show.
Isn't he played by that guy from Lost? I know there's a bunch of actors from
I couldn't tell you
Lost
off the top of my tongue, but it was just really cool that God's name is Chuck and finally not like a nerdy show on NBC. But it was great to see that happen on the show. That's also been renewed for another season, so we'll see where we go from there. But now we want to move into our trailer talk section. A couple great new trailers dropped that we want to talk about. And the first of those is Sausage Party, which, for those of you that don't know, is the R-rated, computer-animated Pixar-style comedy from Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. Now, I had you guys watch the trailer before we started the show today. I think it looks hilarious. The idea of like a hard R Pixar movie looks really funny to me. The storyline seems pretty cool. What were you guys' thoughts on the trailer?
I liked it. Wow. The whole thing is like the truth behind it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's the question that you've always asked when you were a kid. Like, does the hot dog feel it when I bite it?
I like the Saving Private Ryan moment. Where, like the Oreos trying to get his back, the soup stuffing his.
I love when they pick up the potato. I think it's a potato.
His skin, she's peeling me fucking skin.
He's chosen. And then you get sliced up.
So I think that one's gonna be great. That one's in theaters June 24th.
And has a great cast.
It has it's basically it's the whole Apatow crew
Yep.
basically.
Yeah.
Is the cast of that one. So I'm really looking forward to that one. Definitely check out the trailer for Sausage Party. Next in the trailers this week, just released today, actually a couple hours before we started filming, was the Assassin's Creed trailer, starring Michael Fassbender, based on the popular video game series. I thought it was a great trailer overall. I'm just worried because video game adaptations never
Usually
do
pretty good.
well.
Never, ever do well.
Prince of Persia kind of ruined video game adaptations.
Well, not even that. I mean, like Super Mario Brothers.
I love Super
Street
Mario
Fighter.
Brothers,
you know, Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo. Yeah, great, but at the same time, you're like,
Yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't Mario.
It's
And
like Street Fighter is the most notorious one. And
the storyline
Mortal
seems
Kombat.
confusing for this one. Like they're using a modern day ancestor of one of the assassins to make him relive the Spanish Inquisition, and somehow those skills translate to
Fassbender's
him
a great
modern day.
actor, so I
He's a-
feel he's going to bring his A game.
How
but
many great actors have been in shit movies, though?
Yeah.
I mean,
I also think this movie is doomed to fail just because it's coming out on the same day as Star Wars Rogue One.
yeah.
So
I don't think you. And
Yeah.
it tells you a lot about a movie like this when it comes out in December. Like,
and also the horrible trailer music was so bad.
yeah, it was really bad. They've actually cut a trailer without Kanye West.
Really?
Well, yeah, when you got to get, he's nuts. I mean, that's just,
Yeah.
let's just address the fact that
Absolutely. And moving on, new TV spots have started to air for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Out of the Shadows, showcasing new characters Bebop, Rocksteady, and new villain Krang. So what are you guys thinking about this one? Is it looking a little bit better than the original to you?
We do a segment on my other podcast called Talking Shit, where we get one person really drunk and make him watch movies he's vowed to never watch, and we make him pay for them. So he's extra angry, and the first one we did was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I liked the original. I thought that they nailed the personalities of the turtles, which was something that I really liked.
I just
could've done
hate the
without Megan
whole
Fox.
look. I think they look terrible.
I think they looked okay. This one I'm excited because they're getting back to the ooze. We're going to see Bebop and Rocksteady, which will be really cool. But I feel like the trailers I've seen for this one, they really got the personality of the turtles, which is all that matters to me, really.
I like that Krang looks a lot like a Dalek. I think that's really funny.
I like that Krang's a dog, and I like that Mikey's almost in puberty, the way his crush for April and stuff like that. Like, he's, like, interfering with
And
Casey
also,
Jones and stuff.
Stephen Amell.
yeah.
He's a great choice
Making
for
his
Casey
feature film
Jones.
debut,
Yep.
so we'll see how
Happy
that
belated
goes.
birthday to Stephen Amell. He turned 35 last week.
Absolutely, we love your work, man. Keep it up. We'll see you at Boston Comic Con. But yeah, so that I'll definitely be seeing that movie. I have hopes for it. The fact that Bay didn't direct this one gives me a little bit more hope. But so yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle 2. Check out the trailers. Lots of TV spots starting to hit now. Next one that we're going to touch on, we actually don't know much about. It is a movie called Guardians: The Russian Superheroes.
Which you brought that up last week.
Did it? But I actually had you guys watch the trailers.
Yeah, this time, yeah.
So we actually sat down. I had them watch the 2 trailers that are available in somewhat understandable language, and basically it's a Russian form of the Avengers. And what'd you guys think of the trailers? I mean, I think the ninja scene with the teleporter, the special effects. Look
Really
really
Yeah,
cool.
I feel that Bryan Singer should be giving them a call because that basically looked like the scene from X-Men 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I consider to be hands down one of the greatest
That was so
superhero
cool.
effect sequences of all
Yeah.
time when Nightcrawler attacks the White House. I like the terraforming dude. One thing I didn't see when I watched the trailer with Robert is there must be a point where he learns to terraform armor around himself, which looked really cool.
The psychic or the telekinesis guy?
I don't think it's telekinesis. I think it's terrakinesis, which is a big difference. Being able to move
Just-
the earth.
he
just
and
controls rocks.
objects. Because these are men-given superpowers. They weren't born like this. They're experimented on by
The special
government.
effects in the movie look incredible.
The Invisible Girl looks pretty cool. There's a Terrakinetic. There's the ninja, and then there's this guy that transforms into a bear.
And he looks super cartoony, but I think it looks really awesome.
But for a Russian movie, I mean, like I told you guys, I thought everything in Russia was in black and white. So the fact that they've
And
actually
on
put together a
strings.
movie this good looks really good. So we'll post the links to it,
You
but
gotta
definitely
fight
check
that
out.
propaganda somehow because
Yeah.
it's not like when Avengers Civil War or anything comes out. You have to have something equally.
Well, with the ninja scene, they kind of stole too. I don't know if you've seen a show I was telling Anthony called Into the Badlands. It was on AMC.
I have not watched that yet.
It's pretty
there's
neat.
Well,
It's not
whenever
so bad.
this kid's powers activate whenever he bleeds, but like his eyes will go white, and then his powers will go, and then when he's done, his eyes go normal. And as you saw, that's what happened with the ninja. In
The
scene where he
pilot
teleports.
episode for that show was
It was
awesome.
a strong show. All 6 episodes were really good.
It's
and
over
it got
now?
renewed. Yeah. It did get renewed for a second season.
Oh, cool.
Last trailer we're going to talk about today is one we're really excited about, one that I have known about and been a part of since day one, and that is Yoga Hosers, the new second installment of the True North trilogy from director Kevin Smith. No, this is somewhat of a spinoff of Tusk, starring Kevin Smith's daughter Harley Quinn and Johnny Depp's daughter Lily Rose as the two Colleens who, after being invited to a senior party in Canada, have to take on an ancient race of Nazi bratwursts with the help of Johnny Depp's
Bratzies.
Guy Lapointe.
Yeah.
Bratzies.
Now, for those of you that saw Tusk, Guy Lapointe, highlight of the movie was Johnny Depp. A lot of people didn't realize he was in it. But this movie was actually spun out of a podcast. They had an idea based on a story of a
Tusk.
yoga instructor that had been busted with a priceless artifact, and just the course of them getting stoned, talking about it, spun a movie, and this was another fan-voted movie. You had to tweet them saying either Yoga Hosers yes or Yoga Hosers no. The movie got made. He's going to be touring it with a little bit, but it did get a theatrical release for July 29th. Anthony and I will actually have the pleasure of getting to sit down and interview Kevin Smith at Terrificon in August,
Really
as
excited
well
about
as an
that.
exclusive screening of Yoga Hosers and a backstage interview with Kevin Smith. So we're really excited about that. Want to get the name out there for this movie because his movies have a very small audience, but whereas Tusk was a complete freak show, this is meant to just be an earnest
I really
teen
liked
comedy.
Tusk. I mean, I thought Tusk was a pretty bad movie,
Tusk
but I liked
traumatized
it.
me because you can't unsee
It's
the walrus suit.
horrifying. Yeah.
No, but you really
It
can't
was
unsee
so
it.
horrifying.
Like there's a lot. I've watched like ISIS beheading videos and things like that I can delete from my memory. I can never unsee the walrus suit.
Justin
Have you
Long.
seen it, Robert?
No,
It's
but
true.
I there's like things where I saw it and I was like, it's Justin Long. That's
So
not
that
bad.
movie was like a horror movie. Like I went and saw it in theaters. My name's actually in the credits because I was one of the Walrus Yesers, and for Yoga Hosers it will be as well. But this is just an earnest teen comedy that he made with his daughters. It looks really funny. I'm excited to see it, and then he'll be finishing off this trilogy with Moose Jaws, which is basically just Jaws
With a moose. And Jan
in Canada.
and Silent Bob are in
And
that.
Bob's gonna die, which will be hilarious. But yeah, so Yoga Hosers, definitely check it out.
I'm pretty excited for Yoga Hosers just to see Kevin Smith as a mini Bratzy running around doing his German accent, which I
and
love.
Ralph Garman as the
I
villain from
love
Hollywood Babylon.
Ralph Garman.
My excitement for it is because I feel like I'm involved from hearing it from conception of the idea to them realizing, oh, we could actually make this into a script to getting
And the
funding
girls
to
have
filming.
the
like,
girls have really good charisma. I mean, they have
they work
great
together,
chemistry
but well,
together.
they've been best friends since they were 6 years
Yeah.
old. That's one of the reasons that they did the movie. So, and then to get Johnny Depp to do such a ridiculous movie, I think is hilarious. And he's barely recognizable, which is even funnier. But definitely stay tuned. All the Smodcast cameos in this movie. This movie's just close to my heart, having been there from conception to hearing everything made. Looking forward to it. Check out the links below for Yoga Hosers. But that's going to do it for Trailer Talk, except for one quick announcement that next week, hopefully we'll be able to talk about it. Looks like the John Wick 2 trailer
Cool.
is dropping on Tuesday.
About time. That
And
was a good moment.
That was an amazing movie, and it's one of those few movies that flopped in theaters but then made massive money on DVD.
For me, it didn't flop. I think Keanu Reeves' wheelhouse is that he didn't say a lot,
Yep.
and there were guns and martial arts.
Yep.
And even outside of that, the actors that they had supporting it, Adrian Palicki was good. I'm trying to two guys from The Wire, and the world that they had built around that, and William Dafoe's character were just great. And those are the people who should be talking. But they built this world, and you want to know more about it.
Definitely.
And I'm hoping they get into that in the second one.
I hope so.
I just like it was inventive with their fight scenes and things like that. I'd never seen bullets used as strikes before, things like that. So that was interesting. So one little fun piece that we want to have here is we all are Game of Thrones fans, and seeing as this show is beyond the books now and anything is unpredictable, saw this little bingo sheet going around online that I printed out for all of us. And basically what we're going to do is hedge our bets and see how right we do at the end of the season. We're going to give you 3 people that we think will definitely make it through season 6, 3 people that could die, and then 1 wild card shocker that if they just wanted to throw us all for a loop. So I'm going to have Anthony start and then Robert, and let's get that going.
All right. For my wild card, I picked Jaime Lannister.
Why?
I don't know. I just feel like it could go either way with him. I mean, he's always treading the line between hero and villain, or at least in my eyes, anyways, and especially lately. But yeah, I just don't know. I could see him dying. I could see him living.
It really depends on what kind of role you want him to come out, because some of these actors do want to get out of the contract.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, man, well, book's not done yet, so I don't know where my character's going.
Yep.
And Hollywood's a knocking, so.
And they're all doing pretty well as far as having a nice gig goes and opening the door for other gigs. I mean, isn't the guy that plays Jaime Lannister is going to be in that weird, like, what? Isn't it like a Gods of Egypt movie or something like that?
Oh, you mean the thing that bombed in the box office really badly, and it was in theater. It was like in theaters for a week and left.
Really? Oh, that movie already came out?
It already came out.
Oh man,
It got
I really thought that it was coming soon.
no. It was in and out really quickly. I mean, considering the cast, so you have. Oh man, yeah. Nick, they've. It's not that Nicholas Coster-Waldau needs a jump off to kind of get him into Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's just that was just a bad vehicle, and I feel bad for him because Chadwick Boseman, the guy who plays Black Panther in Civil War, was also in that movie. Elodie Young, who played Elektra, was also in that movie.
Wow.
And so you're like, and then there's Gerard Butler, and you're like, oh.
What is even going on? So then I got for my my 3 people to live, Tyrion Lannister. I just don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. He's kind of got the heart of the show. Arya Stark, because I think there's still just so much more story to tell for her.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Daenerys, who, you know, the
Strong
Stormborn.
picks. Easy picks for
Easy picks, of
people to
course.
live.
Yeah. And then for people that I think will die, I got Tom and Baratheon, Dario, and Ramsay Bolton.
Ramsay Bolton, I think, is the one we all hope die.
He's such an ass.
I was hoping for Ollie last
Like,
week.
who would have ever thought that you'd be like, oh yeah, King Joffrey really wasn't that bad compared to like the Baratheon.
Well, Joffrey was just a little shit. Ramsay Bolton is
yeah,
evil.
but he's an incest kid, so it's to be
Exactly.
expected.
Ramsay Bolton is evil.
Robert, give us your picks.
All right. Who I have surviving season 6, or I should say, let me start with deaths. I don't think Jorah Mormont is going to last this season. He's got
Grayscale. Yeah.
he's got grayscale, and I don't know how long I think once they capture Daenerys, it's going to become known, and his day is going to be short. Surprise comeback that, outside of Bran finally coming back on the show, Rickon Stark, I think he's going to die. And the High Sparrow. Those are the 3 guys that I think are going to die. People I know that are definitely going to survive are going to be Daenerys, Bran, and I'm going to say Theon Greyjoy.
All right, good picks. So for mine, let's see. My wild card, I'm actually going to cheat. I'm going to give 2. Just for sheer shock value, if they killed Brienne of Tarth or Samwell Tarly, I think that those would be 2 really upsetting deaths. But for people I think that are going to live, I'm definitely going to go with Tyrion. I'm going to go with Sansa, and I'm going to go with Melisandre, the Red Queen. And my 3 people that I think could die would be Marjorie Tyrell, Theon Greyjoy, and it's a tie for me, but I think I'm really going to have to lead to Orlana Tyrell.
Solid choices.
Solid choices. So that's going to do it for our Game of Thrones bingo. We just wanted to document those. Feel free. I'll post the bingo sheet and the links online. Tell us what you think your picks are, and then by the end of the season, we'll see who got things right. So that's going to do it for that part of the show. Now we're going to get into coming attractions, which are some movies coming up in the next few weeks we're excited about and why, and then we'll get you out of here. So starting next is going to be Alice in Wonderland 2 Through the Looking Glass, which I have got to tell you I am more excited about than any superhero movie that's coming out this summer. I was a diehard fan of the first Tim Burton one, and this movie just looks amazing to me. What are your thoughts, guys?
I'm looking forward to it. I like the first Alice in Wonderland. I thought it was a very wonderful take. I was hoping to see it sooner than when it had come out.
Yeah, it came out a long time ago. The first one came out a
2011
long
was the
time
first
ago.
one.
It's like you're
2000
thinking,
what?
2011 was the first one. They actually filmed this one in 2013.
Jesus.
And you're sitting, it's like, okay, it's been a while here, and I don't know. I'm concerned that the with all the stuff that we're saturated with superhero movies, that this might slip into the cracks. But I'm looking forward to seeing it.
I'm excited for the simple fact that Tim Burton's not directing; he's only producing on it. There's a lot more practical effects in this one, but the 3D is the one thing that was amazing for me. It's in my number 1 rankings. The best 3D movie I've ever seen was Alice in Wonderland. Granted, I was under the influence of some substances, but it was hands down like
Super Soldier Serum?
It was world changing like 3D to me. So I'm excited for that part of it. But I love Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter.
I do remember the 3D being
And you got to remember,
phenomenal.
this is the last time we get to see Alan Rickman,
Yes.
the voice of
Oh.
Absalom. So this is his final performance. So I'm looking
Should have been
forward to
Galaxy
that.
Quest 2.
The trailers look really good. I was never really a fan of Mia Wachowski, but I thought she does good as Alice. I like Anne Hathaway and Helena Bonham Carter as the queens. And then I can't think of his name, but the actors that do Dumb and Dumber,
It's
Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
It's the same actor, but he's a well-known
If
British
you've seen the
comedian.
movie Bridesmaids, he plays Rebel Wilson's brother, the roommate in the movie. But it just looks hilarious all around. The 3D is obviously going to be amazing.
Do you know he and Rebel Wilson lived together at one point in time, and when they moved to Los Angeles?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so they were like, Rebel Wilson tells this story. She was telling on
How much has her career been hurt since lying about the age thing?
Yeah.
That cost her a lot of good movies.
What's the story?
Oh, the story was, so they moved to L.A. together, and so they were living as roommates, and when they first broke into Hollywood, and they got the cops called on them because they were singing show tunes one night.
Well, that sounds obnoxious.
Yeah, there's the next door neighbor called the cops on them because they were singing show tunes, and again, I forget.
Sweeney Todd on repeat for 24 hours.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass comes out May 27th, same day as X-Men Apocalypse, so definitely stay tuned for a review of that. Now, the next one, I don't know if you guys have seen, but I'm super excited for, and that's Now You See Me Too, which is the sequel to the 2012 Magic movie starring Mark Ruffalo, Jesse Eisenberg, and Isla Fisher.
Who's not in this film.
Reason I loved this movie is, in my opinion, it has the biggest twist ending of any movie
Yeah,
I've ever seen.
I didn't see that coming.
I walked out. I had gotten to see that at an advanced screening, which I do a lot of my movies, and I walked out of there with my jaw on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, I called Bruce Willis being dead in The Sixth Sense. I saw that happening in the movie. You could not have paid me to guess the ending of that movie, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't seen the movie.
I really liked it. The first one.
The first one I thought was amazing.
I don't think it needs a sequel.
What hooked me in was the trailers. In the first trailer, there's the trick where they teleport the guy to France, which that's my favorite superhero, so I was in for that. The one that gets me in the trailer for this one is where he stops the rain, then makes the rain go up, and then falls back into a puddle and disappears. So like the little things like that, I love. The actors
I totally
are great.
forgot this was even a thing. I saw the trailer like a few months
It's
ago.
not just a thing. It comes out in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I know.
And it's got, my name is Morgan Freeman, and I do magic. Like, I'm looking forward to it. It's got Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter, as the villain in this movie.
But yeah, I don't know what happened to Isla Fisher, and I don't know why
She got pregnant during filming, and then they kind of tied her character into that, like, oh, she's pregnant, so she couldn't tour with the Horsemen because she's beyond that life with the family life. And I think Lula, the new girl that's bringing in played by can't think of her name,
What's
but
her face?
I think she might be related to Mark Ruffalo's character. There's a reason he brings her in.
Okay.
But the whole point of this movie is basically after tricking Morgan Freeman and Michael Caine, those two team up to try to take down the Horsemen to steal a key that opens any computer in the world. And as they typically do, they create a counter plan to play the people that have played them. But the tricks look good. The stakes seem higher. So this one definitely looks good. If you haven't seen the first one, definitely check it out just for the twist ending alone. Next coming attraction is another sequel. It seems like that's all they make nowadays is sequels and remakes. And that's Neighbors 2. Comes out next week. We'll definitely be reviewing that one. Now, I was a fan of the first one. I don't know if you guys saw it with Seth Rogen.
I never saw it. The only thing I appreciated is Rose Byrne got to use her actual accent.
And you get to see her boobs.
Oh, really?
Hey,
yeah.
looks
But
like I'm gonna
Neighbors
go see
basically
it.
it was their new homeowners. They move into a home that happens to be directly next to a fraternity. So it's them versus the fraternity trying to be able to get their lives together. This one is a sequel where they're getting ready to sell their house and a sorority moves in. And they have to try to figure out how to fight the sorority for 30 days to be able to sell their house. First one was a hilarious movie. I'm going to get these guys to watch it. So this way when we review Neighbors 2, it will be able to see that. So yeah, and then lastly for this one is Warcraft. Looks like the previews are more and more coming out for that. The reason, before I even get into your opinion, just know this. The reason this movie took so long to make is they actually created visual CGI and 3D technology that took 2 years alone for this movie. It was 18 months of filming, 2 years creating the effects, and a year implementing those effects. So I don't know if you've seen any of the full-length trailers. This looks very well integrated between the CGI and the
It looks well made
characters.
for sure.
It definitely looks well made, and I know that there's been a lot of talk about the film because it's been out there, and it was at not Comic-Con. It was at Comic-Con for like the last 2 years, and people were worried about it gaining steam, losing steam. But now it's coming out, and we get to see what all this work is.
I mean, I'll definitely see it. And it's like we said, video game adaptations tend to do not that well, but Warcraft took that in mind, whereas they're not adapting any of their storylines or video games. They took their characters and created an original story and are just implementing that, which I think that's the way you should adapt video games. Like, I'd love to see a God of War movie at some point, but I know that they would screw it up. But Warcraft looks really good. The effects and the 3D is supposed to be impeccable. They're saying if you see this movie, see it in 3D because of the fact they created new technology for it. So just wanted to get some quick input on that since it is coming out soon. And now is the point of the show where I'm going to have to eat my words. As we talked last week about X-Men Apocalypse and how excited I was for it, and I was quoted as saying I don't think there's any way this movie can bomb. The first batch of reviews are out, and they are less than good.
Not surprised.
I've read 3 to 4 different reviews at this point, and a couple were great. One of the big knocks in this movie is apparently there's not a lot of fight scenes. It's all built up, and a lot of it's talking, things like that. Some weaker points as far as setting up some of the newer X-Men. They say you definitely do see where they're going from here, and the highlight of the movie, as with Days of Future Past, is the Quicksilver scene, which I am excited to know, and the fact that it's set to Sweet Dreams, the song this time, I think is going to be hilarious. It's a rescue scene this time instead of him having to fight people. But what are your thoughts on the first reviews pouring in to be not that great?
I'm not surprised at all.
Not surprised.
That's it. That's all I got. I'm just totally not surprised.
Apparently one of the biggest knocks in the movie is one of Apocalypse's many powers is the fact that he can turn sand into badass armor for people. Like, that's how he gives the uniforms to his horsemen. He forms sand around them.
I could see that happening, though.
But I'm like, if that's what you're going to nitpick in a movie where a dude can read minds and grow and things like that, I'll see it. We're all going to see it anyway just to see what they do. But I kind of have a fear that if they don't set up Dark Phoenix well enough in this movie, that there might be some Marvel talk going on. The other thing is the Wolverine cameo has been confirmed, as I predicted, to be Weapon X Wolverine.
Oh, cool.
Was revealed
so
today.
past Wolverine.
And last rumor about this movie is that the after credits scene not only sets up Wolverine 3, but introduces a new character who will affect future X-Men movies, and rumor has that as Mr. Sinister.
Oh, cool.
Nathan Essex. So, to get my 2 cents in on this one, I'm not surprised. These movies are hit or miss, and we were all excited at the end of Days of Futures Past when we saw, they're doing Apocalypse, and then you started seeing production things, and for whatever reason, I don't know why they can't not keep something from leaking out on a set, but you see like, we're going to show you what Apocalypse looks like, and then they got the Ivan Ooze reference that made the internet mad.
And they went and changed it.
And
Well, they just added a couple lines on
now,
his
last
cheeks.
cameo I just want to get into before I didn't mean to cut you off, Robert, because I want to see if this affects your opinion at all, is either the after credits or there's possible still photos that have been shown of Nate Gray, who is personally one of my favorite X-Men.
As X-Man or Cable?
As X-Man.
Oh, interesting.
The child with the star in his eye.
Yeah.
Which, that's one of my favorite storylines of all time, Dark X-Men with him, because I had never known how powerful he really is.
Yeah,
like,
super.
he's
It's
insanely
like the
powerful.
most powerful. Or up there.
Well,
rather.
in Dark X-Men, I guess he's been dead forever, and he harnesses the psychic energy from all the psychics in the planet to, like, slowly restore himself to a body and learn everything that's happened.
I like the original Age of Apocalypse epilogue with Nate Gray. I thought that was really cool.
But
I haven't read it in like 15 years.
The
but-
knocks of them not having a big war scene, apparently it's a lot of the same formula of Charles trying to save Eric, and the introduction of the new mutants being afraid of their powers and things like that.
I really wish that they would do like the comic storyline, Age of Apocalypse, where everything was different.
Which one? There's been 3 different Age of
Oh,
Apocalypse
the first
storylines.
one. From
the
the
original
90s.
one, the original
Yeah.
one that when you saw that
One-handed Wolverine and like Commando cut Jean Grey.
The way I see it, if this movie really does flop, the only way that you can save it is Onslaught, in my opinion. I think that would be where you go, because Dark Phoenix they butchered so badly. I really don't see how they could bring that back. And Onslaught, I think, would be a really cool one, because it's almost like the Infinity War for the X-Men, where you'd have to bring because in Onslaught in the comics they had to bring the whole Marvel universe together to stop them, and they barely did. But that'd be a great way to bring all of your X-Men universe together, because they are doing New Mutants, they are doing Gambit. That'd be the way I'd cross universes.
I mean, right now Fox is, and just to say, not that Fox has made bad movies. You know, Days of Futures Past was great. Deadpool is
a whole nother caliber.
A whole nother caliber, but it's it's one of those X titles that, if you want to count that, they're not always gonna have a good movie, and I was always concerned with this film, because you're dealing with so much, and they play around with the continuity a lot. And so
I just don't see where they go. They just confirmed the next X-Men movie set in the 90s, which will lead me to Dark Phoenix, things like that. But I had, with Days of Future Past, they went so strong, and I thought with Singer returning, with all the cast returning, introducing some of the new mutants, like, the setup is there. This could be one of those cases of just critics that aren't fans of the comics, and we could walk out loving it. You know what I mean? So this one, until we see the movie, we can't really go either way. I like the mutants they're introducing. I like the storyline that's going. The things that I'm hearing that are bad about it, like,
Not so bad.
they're not that bad to me. The one thing that I don't like is apparently Quicksilver's not as big of a part of the movie as I thought. He has one big rescue scene, and then he's in the final battle at the end. But, I mean, that's my take on it. I'll definitely be seeing it. We'll all be seeing it, and we'll definitely do an in-depth review of X-Men. Now, that is going to bring us to Deadpool, which is one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you. Deadpool, as we all know, revolutionized the R-rated comic book genre. But word is out today, as I was just checking my phone, unfortunately, is that Suicide Squad, which was undergoing reshoots that we knew, currently up in Vancouver, apparently now are undergoing almost a complete reshoot of the movie.
Suicide Squad?
Apparently the movie was a mess, and they are now trying to target the movie to be more like Deadpool, carrying the humor and this and that. It was rumored at first that it was a week of reshoots to go up and just add a little more levity to it, and now they're being told that they're up there at least another month, and it could be possibly a complete reshoot of the movie.
Oh, shit.
See, this is where
They already put out, like, final trailers and everything.
Well, the release date's locked. The movie will be out that day. It's just a matter of what version of the movie, and do they try to justify what we get by saying, oh, we'll release this cut on DVD.
Yeah, this is where I have a problem with the theater or the Warner Brother being too reactionary. Yes, Deadpool was a great film, and it's one of a kind. Now you're going to see copycats of like, well, we got to try to recapture that. No, it doesn't make sense.
Deadpool worked because he's an R-rated character in the comic
books. And it's not, not that, the Suicide Squad, because I think one of the Harley Quinn Deadshot dynamic was very adult for its time during some of the runs on that. But come on, Warner Brothers. Just don't be reactionary. Be original. Do something.
Yeah, I think the movie looks fine.
I had problems with this movie from the beginning, though. I don't like the idea that this is the way you introduce your new Joker. I don't like the idea that Suicide Squad gets made before Justice League, because half of these villains, you don't have the Batman storyline set up for them being villains. But it's just very awkward to me that you form your Guardians of the Galaxy style team before you even have your Justice League together. So, I mean, obviously I'll see the movie. I can't make any judgments on this till I see Jared Leto, because I hold Heath Ledger's Joker to such high regard that it's going to be hard to beat. No one's ever, and that's all that's ever going to be compared to. But the storylines I've heard vary so much, whether the Joker being the main villain, then I've heard that it's Enchantress, and now I'm hearing things that the Joker becomes some sort of weird creature. Like, it's just, no one can seem to get a real definite pulse on what's going on in this movie, and the fact that I'm hearing that it's a mess and they're undergoing this level of reshoots.
If I see the Joker turn into a huge creature, I'm walking out of that theater.
There's a still of the Joker's face, and then
well, maybe it's a dream or something, or like a hallucination.
I don't know.
But if he actually, within the context of the movie, turns into a giant beast, I will walk out of that
And my
theater.
other question is, if this is the second movie in your extended universe, how the hell are you connecting it to your
third movie.
Man of Steel, yeah. Okay, so Justice League was felt rushed, or I mean, Batman vs Superman was felt rushed because they popped in all these Justice League members and things like that. How do you tie into the DCU with Suicide Squad? Granted, these are Batman villains, this and that, but there has to be an outcome that affects future movies.
Well, I think the point is that they're trying to draw some of that backstory. They're going to talk from the trailers. It's been very apparent that they're going to talk about Harley Quinn's backstory. They're going to talk about Deadshot.
And now Batman's going up for more reshoots, so he's going to be a bigger part of the movie.
Yeah, and now I guess the whole point is when Batman vs Superman did not do very well, and I think again you're hitting the panic button too soon. I didn't think there was anything. This was actually the DC movie I was looking forward to.
Me too.
It's like I was looking forward to. I'm like, I can't wait to see this. I think they nailed it with Margot Robbie as far as Harley Quinn.
My fiance's diehard Harley Quinn, so this was like the movie she was all about.
I was like, great. I think this is great. I thought they made really good casting choices. And to see that they're hitting the panic button it's like, oh, Batman v Superman didn't do well. Boop. Now we got to blow.
It did do well, though. It just didn't do well
as they
compared to what they expect. They expected it to be a $2 billion movie. It still holds opening weekend records. Like, it's going to hit $1 billion. Like, it's a successful movie, but for the amount that they spent and everything else like that, and then the delays and everything else like that, people felt up to it. But
it was the same thing with Man of Steel.
I loved Man of Steel. I really did.
It was the fact that they had to, it's the idea that the movie, the public thought it was, the movie theater thought it was really, really high, and they thought, oh, we're going to make tons of money off this. It's Superman. Everybody looks like Superman. And then the public reacted to it and was like, and then like, oh. And so now you have, and they reacted from that to get to Batman v Superman, we're getting the movie a year later than what we were supposed to get it, and still the reaction is not good. And the movie that, again, I was looking forward to this. I was like, oh man, this looks great. It's a cast. I didn't really care about the universe building stuff at this point in time because I think I thought that, Batman v Superman was going to be a mess, but now you're going to make a mess of something that I thought was not going to be bad.
And I loved the way that people criticize online. I saw the hilarious video of a dude comparing Civil War to Batman vs. Superman, like he's talking to them. And he had a great line about the Flash just came. He goes, I didn't know the Flash was in a gas station with a mullet drinking a Four Loko. Like, just the little things about that. But with Batman vs. Superman, one of my whole things is just, yeah, universe building, that works with Suicide Squad and this and that. But where do you really go with the Suicide Squad from here? Are you going to go Suicide Squad 2? Do they break off into their own movies? Things like that. What do you do with this?
Who knows? I honestly have no idea what to expect from this movie other than it, from the trailers, looked like a bunch of fun.
But complete reshoots, I mean, we could see an entirely different movie now.
True.
Yeah.
So Suicide Squad, I mean, we'll hold our breath for that. One thing that we do want to take a second to announce here is that our guest host, Anthony Arsenio, has kindly agreed to become a permanent host here at Get Your Geek On. So it'll be the three of us coming to you every week, bringing you the nerdiest news that we can. So I think that's going to wrap us up for today, guys.
I just have one thing that I wanted to mention.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to send...
can I drop in my one fun fact real quick? Speaking of Batman vs. Superman, how hilarious is this that Spider-Man had more lines of dialogue in Civil War than Superman in Batman vs. Superman? Spider-Man had 47, Superman had 43.
I also heard another funny joke where it was a... Cap and Iron Man should have bonded over the fact that both their best friend's name was James.
Oh, yeah.
And
I saw one with
the BVS
Winter
ending.
Soldier drawn up as Buzz Lightyear when he gets his arm ripped off, and it's Cap trying to get him back. He's like, I am Mrs. Nesbitt. Time for tea.
The one thing that I wanted to say before we signed off here was I just wanted to send some love and some hope for Darwin Cook, who's one of my favorite artists of all comic book history, is dealing with horribly aggressive cancer at the moment. So I don't think he'll be showing up at the Boston Comic Con, which is a huge drag. And I just wanted to, send some good vibes out there towards Darwin Cook.
We'll definitely want to send you the best out there. And as always, we want to thank you for joining us here on the Get Your Geek On podcast. You can always find us on Facebook, on nerdorama.tv, and on YouTube. Every Monday, we post new shows. So definitely check everything out below. And tell us what you think in the comments. Tell us what you want to see, what you want to hear. But as always, I'm your host, Charles KIWACZ.
I'm Robert Tokes.
Anthony Arsenio, I love you.
We will see you next week. Have a great show.
Bye.